are my friends. Come along with me, see how the story ends.
This episode is brought to you by North Spore. Ever wondered what secrets lie beneath the forest floor? What if I told you there's a hidden kingdom waiting to be explored right in your own home? North Spore is your getaway to this magical world. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned mycologist, North Spore has everything you need to cultivate culinary delights, medicinal powerhouses, and even a little mind-expanding magic. Unlock the power of fungi with their top-notch spawn, easy-to-use kits, and a treasure trove of knowledge. If you're ready to embark on your mushroom journey, visit northspore.com and discover a community of passionate growers, expert resources, and endless possibilities. It's time to tap into the ancient wisdom of fungi and transform your world. Be sure to use code PROFESSIONALHIPPIES for a very special discount to fuel your fungal exploration. North Spore, where wonder grows. Welcome back, all you professional hippies. Hey, we missed you. In all honesty, I don't remember what episode in the cadence this is coming out. I mean, sometime in July, we're coming to you from a past, future, present tense. And hey, we're just so glad that you're here and tune in for another week. This week, we have an awesome guest, someone I'm really excited to. If you've tuned into one of the episodes and you're like, hey, I like these guys because there's direction, but there's no structure, I think this is the episode for you. Today we're joined by my buddy Alex, and Alex, I've gotten to know you a little bit, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on the podcast. We were connecting the other day, and I was like, you have so many unsuspecting qualities about you that's one of the things I was like, dude, like you were bringing it anyway. We'll get into it a little bit, but if you guys, if you're a coffee aficionado, self-proclaimed or not, if you like the bean water, I think you'll really love this episode. If you want to hear about what it's like to grow a pretty freaking substantial social media following, and then have a little bit of a reworking, let's say, around that of what direction you want to take that in or how to get there in the first place, I think this episode would be great for you. If you like granola, I'm going to go on a limb and say Alex likes granola too, because is that a bold claim? No?
Man, I don't know.
I had it until then?
It has my moments. As a yogurt topper, down.
Okay.
As just a plain snack.
Fair enough. So then Alex is not a guaranteed quality granola hippie. I apologize for all you guys. It might be a little more professional today, but Alex, thanks for coming on, buddy.
In those terms, and if you're talking granola like rock climber, sleep on the top of my truck in my rooftop tent, absolutely. I have a full overland setup. So I think in my heart, I mean, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I was a Boy Scout. I've been hiking, camping, hunting my entire life. So I think at heart, there's some granola there. There's some wook there, if you're familiar with that term.
We've heard that term described multiple different ways too. By the way, I didn't know there was a different interpretation of that term, but I guess there is.
Wook, yeah. So my take on wook, normally it can get kind of, I think, a bad rap sometimes. I think, you go to music festival, you're walking around bare feet in the mud with big flowy pants and kind of being a mooch. So there can be that negative connotation of a wook. So maybe I don't go full wook, but it's good to.
It's kind of iridescent of what a hippie used to be. Like if you were a hippie in the 80s, that was not like, oh, cool, you're a hippie. It was like gross, So like now I feel like wook is kind of the new. I don't know. Is that offbeat? Do you guys think is that a fair?
No, dude, I'd say you're on beat with that. I think the hippie's been gentrified term now. Yeah. Dude, you look at, especially in Austin, I think that it's been gentrified, and with the rise of social media.
That's such a good point, man. I guess you can totally gentrify terms.
For sure.
Oh man, so let's think about where to start this, dude. I think one of the things that I don't know, wherever the energy's taking you, but like one of the things when I met you, I had a pretty cool realization of like the persona that someone can be perceived as online versus in person can be two totally different realities, right? And that's happened to me a couple times in Austin where I'm really glad I got to meet the person before seeing like how many followers they had, because you get to make a judgment call on someone's character versus a perception. And how the fuck did you end up with what is it, a million or something people?
Yeah, it's over 1 million.
My wife told me she knew of you from back in college and didn't know it was you until like there was that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So
until
like,
we were recently on a little lake day together, Colton and I and some other friends, and yeah, she was talking to my girlfriend, and then she's like, "Oh shit, that's the coffee guy," and it's pretty funny because the chances are, if you have been, I don't know, if you have gone into the fitness world on like had a fitness journey, and you're a big coffee person, then you've probably seen my social media pages, because what I do is I take coffee recipes that normally have a ton of sugar or a ton of fat or a ton of just shitty ingredients, and then I take that and revise it down so it's low calorie, quote unquote macro friendly. And so anyways, it reaches a lot of those people that are on a health and fitness journey. And so anyways, that's did she used to compete in fitness competitions, or she was just in
just big into fitness? Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, she had like the oh shit moment of, oh wow, I've seen this guy. And I don't know how, I don't remember how old you guys are, but back in the college days. So she's been following for a while, because I've been at it for almost 8 years now, and I'm just grateful.
Has it been coffee the whole time?
Yeah, I attribute my success to sticking to one niche. And dude, this was accidental. So to answer your question, how did you amass this following? It was truly accidental. I was in the military. I got out. I got medically separated, so it was not part of my plan to get out. I was going to do 20 years, retire, and I got out. I was going to school and just needed a part-time job. Starbucks paid pretty decently, and they had good benefits. And contrary to popular belief, they're pretty military friendly. And so they hired me up right quick, and I was working there. And then I started working out and realized, oh man, I've been drinking a latte that has 7 pumps of caramel and extra caramel drizzle with whole milk and 6 espresso shots every single day. It's like 500 calories, sometimes twice a day. And I was like, dude, why am I started going to the gym. Why am I gaining weight? And it's like, oh, because this has 65 grams of sugar and 500 calories. And anyways, then I kind of found out about tracking macros, tracking calories. And dude, this was 2017. So there was a Facebook group that I was a part of, and I took a picture of this protein shake that I made at work at Starbucks. Took a picture, posted it in this Facebook group. Someone said, oh man, you should post this on Instagram. It's the new big thing. And I posted it on Instagram, and I think I shared it to like my friends and family, and somehow it got some engagement, and that made me excited. And so I was like, oh cool, maybe people will find this useful. So I posted again on Instagram in that Facebook group, and people were like, dude, this is fucking awesome. And so that was June of 2017. I just kept posting and posting and posting and posting over the last 7+ years. And now we're here.
And you never ran out of coffee recipes?
I've definitely gone back to recipes that I've already done, just because. So I first started off doing them just at Starbucks, and then I started making at-home recipes, and then I started making recipes from Dutch Bros and Dunkin'. And I mean, it's hard to run out because there are hundreds and hundreds of flavor combinations that you could come up with the amount of syrups that are out there, and milks and powders and stuff like that. So yeah, safe to say I have not had a hard time coming up with recipe ideas.
And so I think, I don't remember how long ago it was, but when we had a conversation, it sounded like you were looking to make like some kind of pivot or like a rejuvenation. because you had the Soul Quest down by the beach right here in Texas. So like, I contextually just remember some of the intentions going into that.
Yeah.
Were there any pivots that came about, or?
No pivots per se, just a better understanding of my work cycle. So yeah, I remember that. So that time that I went down to North Beach, which is just north of South Padre Island, kind of in Port Aransas area. I took my dog. It was an empty beach, and we just went down, hung out for the day. I took some mushrooms and just kind of rode it out, and just in hopes of reconnecting with myself. And I was just feeling burnt out from social media and just content creation. And the biggest kind of revelation that I had in that trip or that experience, and dude, it was the most amazing trip ever because I got there in the morning. There was really nobody there, and it was just me and my dog. I took my mushrooms. They kicked in about 45 minutes later, and no one was really there. And so I spent about 4 hours on the beach by myself. And then my dog, he's not friendly with other dogs, so thankfully there was no one there. But then as I was coming down, people started showing up with dogs, and I was like, man, what a perfect sign that my trip is coming to an end, and I'm gonna go home, because people started showing up, and I was like, it was like just one of those moments where I felt like I got exactly what I needed from from that day, from that experience. And my big takeaway was that my work cycle of going hard, like grinding at it, is about 12 weeks. And then after about 12 weeks, whether that's with working, creating content, whether that's a workout program, like really sticking diligent to a diet and a workout program, after those 12 weeks, I need a couple days to just refresh, kind of take it easy, and then I can go back to it. And so in the past, I would go way more than 12 weeks, an entire year, 6 months to a year, and wonder why I'm like yo-yoing with my fitness, or why I'm like losing motivation, or feeling like I don't want to show up for what I need to show up for online. And yeah, that was my big revelation. Just 12-week work cycle, take a couple of days off, and then get back at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you find it was hard when you made that realization, right? And so you've kind of built a reputation around you, or an expectation of people around you, that like, that guy hustles all year round. He's a hustler. He's going to do it. If you need to count on him, he'll do it. What was that change like, of trying to change the dynamic of those around you, where you've built that expectation, where you had to be like, all right, guys, like, I need this little break now every 12 weeks?
I don't think it was a very hard thing for me to come to terms with. I've done a lot of self work and reflection, and I've done a ton of meditation. I've done a ton of therapy. And so I've really come to terms with being at peace with myself. And so when I had that realization, it was more so like, just take care of what you need to take care of. So that way, when you're taking a break, people won't really know. I can post on my stories that I'm at the beach or at a music festival or whatever, but my content will be already done. So it can just be ready to be auto published. And so I didn't really worry about that too much, to be honest, just because with my social media pages, it's almost like a faceless brand. It's funny I say that, because every video is me in my car for the most part, or me in my kitchen, and I'm like, hey guys, this drink is whatever, and it's so you're directly seeing my face. But every single video is just a recipe video. And so yeah, that people may remember me because of my beard or my hair or the hat I'm wearing or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's not like what you would describe as an influencer. It's not somebody that's like showing their day-to-day life. On my stories, I share a bit more of my personal journey and my personal stuff, but on my page, on my actual feed of TikTok, Instagram, I keep it strictly to the recipe videos. And so when someone goes to my page, they know what I do. It's very clear. And all that to say, I don't feel like it had too much of an effect coming to that realization, because I already don't really share personal things on my social media as it is.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, like, do you typically batch your content, like, in general?
For the most part, I do. Sometimes when I'm not feeling, it's just, to be honest, it's just like any other job. Sometimes you're just burnt out and tired. And so when there's weeks that I don't feel like making content, truthfully, I don't make content. And I think that I'm very blessed to be in a position where I had my come up and my growth phase on social media, I'd say for the first year, it did grow very fast, but then the second and third and fourth year when I was growing just insane. And nowadays, I think it would be a lot harder for me to grow because I was the first person to bring this concept to social media. It had already been done probably. I'm not saying that I created the concept of macro-friendly healthy coffee, but I was the first person to start posting those recipes online. And so my page was able to get so much traction and so much engagement and so much natural engagement because that's how Instagram was back in 2017 and 18. And nowadays, I think it would be a lot harder. So I'm less strict on myself to post like every day or keep this very, very strict cadence. So if I don't want to post or if I'm not feeling inspired to go make a drink, I won't force myself to. But I like to have 1 or 2 videos in the bank for those weeks that I don't feel like inspired to create.
A little dance with the old disciplined devil, right? Because as a creative, if you're not feeling it and you like press that too much, then I would imagine like you're just gonna be like, okay, I really fucking hate this. But other days you have to show up. I mean, you're not gonna love it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a dance. It's about finding what works for you, right? Like that realization brought me to a good understanding of myself and how I like to work and what feels good when it comes to working. And it's very personal, but the only thing that is going to drive someone to success is just consistency over a long enough timeline. You're going to go up. If you stay consistent if you don't stay consistent with something and you yo-yo and whatever, even the trend still may go upwards. It may not be as big of a trajectory, but as long as you like, that's how I grew. I just stayed consistent over 7 years.
Yeah. A little bit of this will be a pivot, but we were talking about music festivals and some of the other things I was curious about is like, what do you feel like fuels you outside of that? Because I think it would be quite a few people that are listening to this and be like, man, I wish I could do that or da-da-da. But like, I think I've gotten a little bit of a peek behind the curtain where you've also been like, hey, I'm wanting to branch out and try different things and just like explore like what's fun for me and doing things like that. So like we talked about the music festival and some of the other stuff. So like as of late, like what are some of the newer things that you're like branching out, trying?
Yeah. Well, I just want to experience as much as I can. And so I try to say yes where I can say yes or where I feel comfortable. But I also have a very strict energetic balance of if I don't feel like I'm going to get a return on energy I'm giving out, I'm not going to do something. So, man, right now I play a lot of pickleball. I love pickleball. I became obsessed with it. I played basketball growing up. I always played sports my entire childhood into my teenage years and after high school in the military. And then I stopped playing sports probably from the time I was 22 until recently when I was like 30. And I started playing sports again, and it started just making me feel good moving my body. So honestly, for me right now, it's just about doing the things that make me feel good, whatever that may be. And at this point in my life, it's playing pickleball. I play a lot of pickleball, dude. I play like 4 or 5 times a week. Going to music festivals is another thing. I mean, I can't express enough how grateful I am to be in the position that I am, to have created this career for myself where I have a large amount of freedom with my time and flexibility with my work. I can travel and still be able to make content when I'm on the road. And honestly, a lot of it, as long as I made enough content on the trip, I can write something off, which is a big plus as well for my taxes. But dude, it's really, for me, outside of like what fuels me to continue on with this journey that I'm on with the content creation, is just continuing to experience as much as I can in life. And I don't know if that sounds cliche or very Austin-y, but and I want to share those experiences with people that I care about and be able to provide for people that I care about. Kind of a transition. I don't really come from a ton of money or a ton of financial security. I grew up, I wouldn't say poor, but definitely like lower class. And so to be able to take care of my mom now and my younger siblings now and be able to help them when they need it, that fuels me a ton. And to be able to show up best for, my partner, my girlfriend, to be able to bring in my half of the relationship, not just, when it comes to financial and shit like that, but also the mental side of things, having worked through my traumas to be able to love myself and love others. And yeah, dude. So a lot of intrinsic motivation, a lot of like quote unquote woo woo type shit fuels me, but also being able to take a couple times a year and just go become a wook at a music festival also fuels me.
Yeah. What were we talking about, Dylan? We've talked about this. It's like you have that brain cell budget where we're like, hey, I know my body and brain can only handle so much per year. And I had the most beautiful image of you at a music festival, like holding up like a portable blender, making like a iced coffee in the middle of the pit.
Dude, that would be epic. Oh my gosh. That would be amazing. I mean,
just a little cart pushing it around the farm.
Dude, people would love it too. It would bring such amazing.
Could you imagine that? Alex, you're coming around at like 3 a.m. Everyone's getting that little, man, I wish I had that little extra boost. Bam.
Through with
Here comes Alex with the coffee.
The natural cups on deck.
Yeah.
Bam. Old coffee, man. Or a totem of like simple syrup, right? I mean, that might go against the brand, but I think you could work some syrups in there somehow.
It's just a totem of cold brew at the top.
Oh, yes.
Dude, yeah, a totem with a big like an IV bag type totem.
Yeah, you just open it up.
Switch at the bottom. You get people slapping the cold brew
the
IV
totem,
bag.
slap my totem.
Slap my beans.
That'd be epic. Slap my beans.
No, that'd be awesome. That's not cliche, man. I mean, not to cut you off, Dylan, were you gonna say something?
Oh
no, just saying that would be awesome to have around.
What about you, Colton? What kind of things fuel you outside of just disciplining yourself to stay consistent?
Yeah, I think the big one for me is travel. Actually, I've had like a little bit of like melancholy lately with the transition of life that I've been in the last couple of years. Like Dylan and I talk about this here and there, where it's like, Dylan, I think you give me the best perspective on fucking growing up, dude. That's why I love having you as a friend, because like sometimes I'll call Dylan and I'm like, I'm sad about when, or I'm frustrated about when. He'll hear me out, and then like sometimes give very poignant advice. But like I've realized at this stage in your life, there are certain freedoms I've intentionally sacrificed, but like I'm choosing not to just fucking get up tomorrow and go backpack for months on end, because there's roots I've planted. There's things I want to like, nourish. But to answer your question, like the big part for me is traveling. Love traveling. And that can be, I'm just a believer, like people always make the place. So if you go with the intention of like forming some new relationships, or like finding the coolness in the people at the place, versus like, oh, I've always wanted to go to Madrid, and you go to Madrid and Madrid sucks ass, there's a high chance it's because the tourists around the shit you wanted to see were being rude or stinky or smelly. The server, didn't like the fact you didn't speak Spanish. Your bus driver said like you got to pay double because you're a tourist. Like those are the things that I think people don't like a place for, and they forget about the people. And I love it when I'm like meeting new cool people and they make me rethink things, because I think people just solve problems a different way. So get more traveling in, man. If I could get some more traveling in over this next year. I mean, Abby and I have some cool trips planned already. Yeah. But I'm a fucking junkie, dude. I love checking out new places.
outside of the people, just basing this question off of pure aesthetic and landscape alone, where's the favorite place you've ever been?
Thailand. Yeah, it's the hesitation and pause is because like that is my cliche. It's such a fallback, but like it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. A close second being Barcelona, because both of those places have like similar geographies of mountains straight to a beach. And I think that's just the coolest thing in the world. Like you could be in the clouds one moment and then down by like a pretty beach, not just a beach, like a pretty beach. Yeah, I between the two, like it's like someone's really strapped on cash, like go to Thailand. If you make $5,000 a month USD in Thailand, I mean that's equivalent to like $20,000-$30,000 in Thailand.
Wow. Yeah, it's always been on the bucket list. What about you, Dylan? So same question for you. Outside of doing what you do, this is my first time meeting you. So outside of doing what you do and staying disciplined to take care of the shit you need to take care of, what kind of stuff feels you?
Feels me is when the stuff that I'm staying disciplined to works out. Like I feel like so much goes into that. Just keeping that up is like when a discipline works out, it's like, oh, now I can go on a vacation. Cool. That's for me, that's where it is. I put so much effort into taking myself and my family to another level that like, I mean, it takes so much to do that and pull yourself out of a place where like I could maintain and just do like this, probably live a pretty happy life, but I'm trying to go above and beyond so that the next generations are going to be better off than I was. Right. But like when I can make things happen, I just kind of like to break my mind away. Traveling is a big one. I love going to national parks. That's like my big one. I was a Boy Scout too as well. Nice. I got Eagle. And so I love backpacking. I love going outdoors. I love putting myself 20 miles in the wilderness and I have no contact with satellite or cell or anything, whatever it is, right? When I'm off the grid, I go on a big backpacking trip every couple of years to a place called Kennedy Meadows, connects with the PCT. I love going out there and I have the world could fall apart and I have no clue what's happening. Kind of learned that a little more about that last year when my house flooded and I didn't even know it until I got out of the wilderness. I was like, oh, great. That's cool. So yeah, I love that. I love traveling. We, wife and I, we went on a big trip a few years ago to New Mexico and got to explore there. And we're going to Bulgaria next month, so that's, it's going to be my first time leaving this continent besides when we went to Hawaii a couple of years ago. And that was a big trip for me because I never left. I'm a Florida. I am Florida man, if you didn't know. So like I grew up here.
I don't think you've done enough meth yet. You got
yeah, that's the thing.
Where in Florida?
So like getting out, I've mostly stayed at the East Coast. So the past, 6 years, I've started traveling out west more. Gone to the Bahamas a little bit, traveled to Hawaii and Mexico. So this is going to be the first time I leave, go to the other side of the world and really experience like different cultures. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah. And music festivals too. Like anytime I get to do that, that's always like a brain charge for me, even though it's not charging, it's definitely depleting, but it's for me, it's definitely a charge for sure.
But it is charging because my experience is that you're just like a music festival is a place where I feel like adults go to just be their most authentic self. Mm-hmm. Some people treat it as a fucking fashion show and just like the cringy influencer type shit. Yeah. But I feel like the more overwhelming amount of people that are going are just going to express themselves the way that they quote unquote can't in their day to day at their 9 to 5. They're going to be able to dress in, extravagant type of outfits that they want to wear. They're going to dance like fucking weirdos and move around and just love all the people around them. And so to me, that's one of my favorite parts about music festivals is just seeing people be that little kid that just many times.
The fact that you could say like random crap to people and everyone understands what you're saying. It's just like,
yeah, that's true.
It's like when you're a little kid again, you just say something off, whatever, and everyone's understanding what you're saying. I just think that's awesome when you do that too.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like nothing's off limits, you know? But like sometimes I have to check myself too. We were at a music festival and there was, I'm kind of speaking to like the artificial boundaries we'll put up. Like we'll say, hey, like who you can be at a music festival, it's like express freely or whatever. But even still, there's some constructs of like that range that we kind of deem acceptable in our head. Like at a regular music festival, if I see someone butt ass naked, my brain still goes, hey, check out that hog, you know? And I'm like, there's kids around, buddy. But then, you know, then my brain's like, well, whatever. Fucking, it's like everyone signed the waiver. You know what I mean? Or we were at a festival and we saw these girls that totally treating it like a fashion show, showing their ass off for, you know, TikTok or the gram or whatever. And my brain immediately goes judgmental because you can tell they're not there to judge, you know, for the show. They're there for the pictures or the video or whatever. And then my brain was like, actually, like, that's cool. Like, that's their way that they're enjoying their art, creative experience, expression, whatever, until it hit about the 45-second mark of the fucking flash being on, in which case my little rat brain went right back to fuck you, you know, like fuck your art because your art's fucking up my art, actually. Yeah. So I still stand by fuck them, but, you know, it's just ironic.
It wasn't like a light, though. It was like a big old ring, the ring light that they had.
And it was
facing like towards the stage, and everyone was like, yo.
Dude. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah,
you know
it's
what
like,
also
that's cool,
me?
but don't let your art affect other art, I guess.
Dude, you know what's a not art? Fucking fan clackers. Fan clackers annoy the shit out of me. Every fucking beat. Like, I love when I'm walking by someone and they fan me, but do not start clicking that shit. It's
don't do the clacking. Why are we doing the clacking?
It's as bad as going, ooh, ooh. You know, when people do that shit too, it's just like, stop.
Yeah.
But again, it's also, am I being too judgmental? I'm here to let everybody.
No, everyone hates the clacking. That's not judge. Yeah, be judgmental on that one.
I'm a 2, maybe 3 clack limit kind of guy. Like personally, I don't know. I might do that one time through a whole festival. But if I hear someone clack, one and it's tastefully done on a drop, 1, 2, 3, you're starting to push it. It's once we're outside of that, I'm like, I paid $500 goddamn dollars for this ticket for 10,000 watts of perfectly engineered sound waves to penetrate my lungs. The last thing I need is the fucking fan coming in over top, like extra treble, like a background chorus of mismatched, mistimed beats.
The best though is when sometimes you keep I've kept the fan away, and you'll go to a crowd and they start fan clacking, but no one sees that I have a fan. And so you'll hear the person in front of you like really bitch about the fan clacking. And so you'll just be like, right beside them, put it away. And they'll be like, God damn it. You just to mess with that person's kind of fun. But
yeah.
But I hate the clacking too, especially if you're offbeat, you're doing it, or you're doing it in my ear. Just fan me. Just give the fan. That's nice.
Yeah.
We had a friend, he would he was his first music festival, and you know how sometimes people will put lights in the balloons and send them off, and they just go bouncing around. He didn't pick up, you know, the perspective of what a balloon popping does in a crowd, especially while everyone's on something. And he would find the balloon and pop it on purpose just to get the light out and wave it around. And I kept seeing the balloons pop around me, and I'm like, that's an abnormal amount of balloons. And then I looked to my right and see my buddy waving the lights around. I'm like, are you fucking popping these balloons? He's like, yeah, I don't see what's wrong. I'm like, bro, it's a shotgun going off in the crowd every time. Stop doing that.
That is funny. It's like, yeah, everybody can have their judgments, and I don't really care. I guess just as long as your art doesn't fuck up my art. I guess it's the battle of the arts, right?
Battle of the arts.
And so, is it not Electric Forest because that just happened. What's the music festival you're going to?
Going to Lost Lands in September.
Nice.
Which, if you don't know what that is, it is Dubstep Disneyland. It's a prehistoric themed festival in a place called Legend Valley, Ohio, where apparently dinosaurs did once roam. And so it's all dinosaur themed.
Is that the connection?
Tons and tons of, and it's Excision, which Excision is like known for transformery, dinosaur-y type shit. But yeah, it's in a place called Legends Valley, Ohio.
I was wondering why there. I mean, that makes, well, I guess, was there musicians playing in that valley beforehand, or was it like the connection with the fossils, you think?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm stoked because I'm just going to say it. Dubstep crowds are much more loving and the energy is so much better than a house music crowd. It just is.
Ooh, hot
I love house music. I love house music. I love dubstep, but a dubstep crowd is much more friendly than a house music
I think so
crowd.
too. I think so too. I feel like house and technos are very snobby, very like social media influencer type people these days. Like it's definitely a lot more mainstream. Whereas I feel like the dubstep crowd in comparison would be like a metal crowd. Like you think they're scary or whatever, but it's some of the nicest people when you go to a metal concert.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
the dubstep people never changed. You know, they talk about an evolution of your music taste, you know, going from dubstep to house to techno. And so people that evolved into house music and techno, they're like, ew, dubstep, you wook. Like that's another thing. Just by association, wooks are associated as negative with dubstep. And so, but anyways, that's my take. Dubstep crowds,
they just couldn't keep up. They fizzled out. They burnt out. They can't keep up with it. They got to go to their softcore.
But I do love a good house set though. And there's nothing better than a live house set. It's cool to listen to house in your car and whatever, but live house set, it's undefeated.
Yeah, it was like when we went, I mean, where the big ring light was, I mean, we saw Tin Liquor for the first time at Okeechobee. Fantastic set. That was amazing seeing them. Never saw them live before until then, but to have that like pure live set, I saw Carl Cox in New York. I saw Eric Pritz in New York. Like those two guys, like a live set. I mean, that was like a 12-hour live set too. Holy shit.
Yeah, I just think my cutoff for dubstep's probably around 2 a.m. because that's when my peak energy. And then if I can get like a crispy house set from like 2 to 3, like high energy house, you know, to like transition me into like the afters, that right there is a fucking 3-star Michelin experience. Like that, like give me all the rage. And then my body's like, all right, give me something that's going to make me want to smell my buddy's armpit, you know, right next to me, kind of huggy feely type shit. Like that's the golden hour for me for house.
What is it all these places do now? Like the Okeechobee does it, Bonnaroo does it. At about 3 a.m. they have that like just a hard drum and bass house to be like, go to bed, go to bed, go to bed. They don't have that like nice evolving house music they used to have back in the day.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And so Alex, you're going to be launching a new podcast series, right?
Yeah. I don't like to talk about things before I do them. That's one of my things, but I'll chat about it because we're making good progress. I am.
Nice.
Well, and there's always the power of editing. If you're like, hey, let's take it out.
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
In general, I'm finally getting onto YouTube. I've attempted it twice to get onto YouTube. Once back in 2019. Again, last summer, just did not have the bandwidth to edit my own 20-minute vlog / how-to videos. It's just so much work. So something that I've always wanted to do is just, I love camping and hiking. So I've wanted to travel around in my truck and hang out with cool people and make them coffee and just chat. And so I figured, why not record that? Why not just record me hanging out, meeting cool people? So the show is called The Tailgate Coffee Table, and it's quite literally what it sounds. So I have my truck, it's built out for overlanding, pop the tailgate down, put an espresso machine on the back, got 2 camp chairs, and the first part of the episode is teach them how to make coffee. if they've never made coffee, if they have made coffee, whatever, we're gonna make coffee together, and then we're going to sit down, drink it, and have a conversation, and that's the show. And so it just gives me a chance to create something that is still natural to my content that I already make, right? Because it's teaching them in depth how to make this coffee recipe. So it's not like I'm sending people from my Instagram who know me for that to YouTube for just this random fucking dude who started a podcast, because everyone does that. And so it's the first part of the video is me teaching this person how to make coffee. So they're getting an in-depth tutorial on a coffee video. And then if they want to stick around for the podcast and get to know me deeper and get to know this other guest deeper, cool. If not, whatever. I'm still doing it. I'm doing it because I just want to travel around and meet cool people, build relationships, and just connect with others. And the general theme of the show is nothing. There's no theme. The only theme is to just be yourself. And so the conversations that we're having are deeper, more authentic. Just, I don't really care what your business revenue is. I just want to know what you do for fun. I want to know what you don't tell people on social media. And I don't know. There's something about the tailgate coffee table, right? So the whole premise of the show too is, I'm traveling, I'm on the road, you got the tailgate and it's a coffee table, but coffee shop, having coffee with somebody, and then standing at the back of my truck or standing outside of a car, for some reason, those two settings, I've had some amazing conversations.
Tailgates,
like just think
especially.
Like 2 a.m. 2 a.m. You're going back, you're leaving the bar, or you're leaving an event, and you're just standing. For some reason, you just end up standing outside your car for an hour, chatting with someone you just met, and it's just this deep, flowing conversation where you're just like no holds barred, just chatting about whatever. Same thing with coffee. Coffee gets you flowing, and it just, I don't know. It's just those two areas together. So I figured, why not combine them and just create this environment where we can have a super dope conversation and share it with the world.
Man, you already got a subscriber right here. That sounds awesome.
Hell yeah.
That sounds
if you
great.
could get random requests, if you get like a really quality trucker in there on that quest, I feel like a trucker could, one, appreciate a really good cup of coffee, and they probably like a seasoned, a peppered beard trucker. I bet they've seen some shit traveling the roads.
And that's the thing too. Like, I have this massive list of people that I want to hang out with, and a lot of them, nobody probably ever heard of them. A lot of them are just these like obscure TikTok accounts that I found that I just think they're fucking cool or they're funny, and they have like 1,000 followers, but I just want to hang out with this person and chat with them. And then there's like some bigger name people on my list that I want to have too. Obviously you have to try and like build something that's going to attract people. Start it off with big names, whatever. But even with those bigger names, I still think that they're amazing, genuine people, and want to be able to share their life a little bit deeper than what they may already know.
Dude, that honestly sounds like that's going to be a really cool show.
I'm excited. That
sounds cool.
We are fully done with one episode. That's audio fully edited, video fully edited, short form content done. And so we're trying to get 5 done before we launch, because we're going to do a season. So we're going to do 13 episodes in a season.
Ooh.
We're going to launch with 2 episodes. And then the next 11 weeks, it'll be 1 per week. And so season 1, pending release date, but on the way.
Nice, man. Well, when that comes out, let us know, because I'm sure our audience would also appreciate that.
Yeah.
We could, what would be the equivalent for professional hippies? Sitting around a table and chopping lines? No, that's not very appropriate. Like,
no, ours is always around a campfire. That's what we always say. That's we're always around a campfire.
Family friendly. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Maybe a glass of whiskey or a beer.
Yeah.
That's ours. That's how we always, when people are like, how do I do this? Like, this is the easiest crowd. There's no really prep. It's basically what you described is exactly how we wanted it. Is we want business owners and stuff, because a lot of our business owners are in the psychedelic space or coffee making or whatever other spaces we have, consulting. You're right. They usually go on interviews and they're like, what are your numbers? How, what did you do? blah, blah, blah. Such a stupid business question. We're like, we don't want that. We want to know what you like to do for fun. How did you get into it? Sure, tell us, because that's kind of cool. But we're like, but we also don't want to just know how you got into it. We'll be like, what was that failure point? Where was it where you were like, why am I doing this? You know, but we that's how we want is to share. Like, we want our guests to share what they normally want to share when they go on these types of things. Then they don't get to. That's how. And so what you're sharing is we're building our audience like that, and so our audience is looking for that. And then with you building that too as well, that's a great another podcast too to listen to.
Do you guys have a goal or a target underlying goal with the show? Do you guys like what would that be for? I mean, maybe it's common, maybe it's shared between you, but also maybe there's an individual one that each of you have too.
Yeah, I think it's changed a little bit too. I know in the beginning, our goal was to essentially have fun. It was like just a good excuse for us to do something that was outside of our comfort zone. And at this point, we've proven, hey, we can be consistent. And then now we're looking to like grow the show. And even that, we've kind of gone back and forth with like direction. Like we'll start down a direction and be like, I actually like pivot a little over here. So it's like, in some ways, I think that the main goal is to fucking keep showing up and being consistent.
And critique where we can, you know, like we're just making those critiques of like, all right, that didn't work. Okay, this sounds good. All right, these are the type of guests we're looking for. You know, yeah, it started out fine, but now it's like, let's just keep doing it. If we keep doing it, it'll build.
Yeah.
And you know, it'd be cool to, you know, as that, you know, I mean, just to be frank, like we've had guests on we never thought we would have had on. You know, that we've had on, like, you know, CEOs such as yourself. We've had very high level consulting. We've had people connected with maps. You know, it's been very cool to have connections built out and come on that we're like, you know, we wouldn't expect when we started this in October of 2020.
Yeah.
Like in August, cool. We're excited to be where we're at even now.
In August is where there's a couple people that like I've been slow rolling, trying to get them on the calendar for the better part of a couple months now. And since we have July kind of baked out as of this recording, that's been the cool part is like now we're getting a little bit more focus on not just like having fun in this, but like having conversations that fuel us as we're going through the process. But just kind of like a point you brought up earlier, I thought that was really important. It's really about having rejuvenating conversations that could potentially lead to relationships, you know, where it's like, I don't want to just talk to somebody to fill content because the podcasting world is so competitive as it is. So it's like, I don't want to try and have someone take some time out of their day to listen to our platform and not get anything out of it. And at the same time, like sacrifice our energy. Like Dylan's like technically working right now, you know? So, our time is like really valuable and we want to make sure that people we're bringing on are people that like we genuinely value and want to talk to and have conversations with. So it's kind of a balance between all of that. I mean, that's why I love your vision, man. That's really stinking cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in line with that. With especially the last part you just said of just having people on that you want to talk to and you know that there will be value in the conversation just because of who they are.
Yeah, like Theo Vaughn's a great example. He's got one of the biggest podcasts in the world right now. And he's had on like a janitor, a school cafeteria lady, and then, you know, big names and stuff, right? Where he's like, you can only imagine he's excited to have them on because he just finds them interesting and for no other reason than that. So as we're kind of winding things down here, a couple questions for you. One, I got to ask it. What is your favorite kind of coffee?
It could be, so recipe. I'll start with recipe. I mean, I just like to drink cold brew with some sugar-free syrup and a little bit of half and half. It's hard to mess that up. Black coffee. I really don't like black coffee when it's cold. I like black coffee when it's hot, specifically something from Peru, some sort of Peruvian origin. That's where I fell in love with coffee back in 2017 in the first place when I went to Peru. So as far as recipe and origin / roast, yeah, cold brew with sugar-free syrup and a little bit of cream, and then some sort of Peruvian medium roast paired with a little piece of chocolate.
Nice.
So good.
All right, and then what's one question you wished more people asked you?
It's actually a question I've been asking on my show is who are you? But I don't like you ask someone who they are, be like, oh, I'm Alex. Oh, I'm a coffee guy. Oh, I do this. Or what? And then what do you do? I think like the who are you and what do you do? Those two questions. I want those. Like I want to be asked and ask those questions. But you, Colton, actually imprinted on me the first time I met you at Zilker. We were sitting there, and I said, "What do you do?" And you said, "What do you mean? Like, what do I do for work? What do I do for fun? Like, what do you mean?" And since that moment, and you probably forgot about that. But that small thing, that small 20 seconds of you saying, "What do you mean? What do I do?" And it changed the way that I view conversation when I'm meeting new people and when I'm getting to know somebody. And so a question that I wish was asked more or with more genuine intention is who are you? And I guess it comes from the person being asked, the questionee or the interviewee, their answer being more so just who they are as a person versus what they do for their career or what they I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just more the general answer to that question is more engaging questions, deeper, authentic questions versus surface level type stuff. But yeah, dude, that it's funny that full circle moment here because I literally think about that almost every time I meet somebody and I ask them what they do. I try not to ask them what they do. I try to say, what do you do for fun? Or what do you do? If I'm going to ask them what they do for work, I say, what do you do for work? So yeah, dude, thanks for unknowingly shifting my perception when it comes to conversation.
That's beautiful, man. Thanks for reflecting that back at me. And wow, I can't think of a better way. I'm gonna go out cheesing here. So if folks want to find you or connect with you, where are they gonna find you?
So all social media, the Macro Barista. Go subscribe to the YouTube now. It's going to be sometime within the next 2 months they'll be launching the series. If I could ask for, if I were to, I've never, I don't give a shit if you follow me or not. But
there it is.
If you found the conversation interesting and you're intrigued by what we talked about, the Macro Barista, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube.
Y'all do us a favor and go subscribe there if you want. If you don't, hey, that's totally cool. You know how we feel about you. We love you regardless. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.